I missed the game-winning field goal in our third-round playoff game. 2 seconds left, 35-yarder for the win, and I missed. The silence in that stadium was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. My teammates didn't even look at me at all. I feel like I'm the reason 100 guys' seasons are over. How do I ever regain my confidence after that?
So, as much as it feels like it, a kicker is not defined by their misses. Like, you can't just base your whole career off of one miss. You see this sometimes, like, especially in, like, playoff games in the NFL or college, or there were a few this past season, that were actually pretty, like, notable, where a kicker missed the final field goal that would have won them the game. And as much as kickers a lot of times bear the weight of that being completely their fault, that's actually not the case a lot of times. And so it's very important to, like, try to walk through that mentality of, like, hey, even though if I would have made it, I would have won. It's not my fault that we were in that position in the first place. A lot of times kickers are the only players who play a solo sport inside of a team sport. If you think about it, like, kickers are playing all alone for the most part in a very team game. And so it creates this interesting dynamic where a lot of times they take a lot of the weight on themselves for bad punts, bad kickoffs, bad field goals, like field goal misses, stuff like that. But that's not actually the case. Like, a lot of times you have the distinction between a good kicker and a bad kicker isn't, well, he never missed a game-winning kick. It's consistently showing up and consistently doing the best you can. Now, there are kickers who make a lot more field goals than others, right? But to base a whole losing of the game on you missed it and bearing the responsibility of, like, I ended my teammates' seasons, I would try to not think that way, because that's not true. Like, they shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. And so, in a way, they ended their own seasons.
I believe you touched on what I was about to say, but I've mentioned this in a recent episode, is the reason you're in that position is because of the other teammates. It's not just on you. It was everybody else's fault that you were in that position in the first place.
We see this so many times in, like, so many different situations where, a wide receiver drops a pass, or a quarterback throws an interception, or somebody misses a tackle. And it's like, those things all get brushed off like no big deal. Interceptions are a little bit of a big deal. But for, like, the most part, a lot of those things get brushed off. But those are, like, huge moments that really can impact the overall game, like, as a whole. But for whatever reason, a kicker misses a field goal from, like, 40 yards, 30 yards, 50 yards, like, forever away. All of a sudden it's the kicker's fault. But we forget about, like, the interceptions, the dropped catches, the fumbles. We forget about all those things. And so what I would challenge you on is to just remember that. Like, it's not your fault. You didn't end the season. Your teammates did. And I say that because they put you in that position. I'm sure at some point throughout the game, no matter how much your teammates played their hearts out, I'm so sure that they played as good as they could. But there were mistakes they made too that ultimately ended the game for them and put you in the position where it was all up to you to win the game. Simple things, as much as, like, just getting a first down, that could have changed the game dramatically. But I'm sure there were moments where the offense didn't make that happen. I'm sure there were moments where the defense missed a tackle that just completely altered the game. And so bearing that weight, dude, I know you want to, and I know it's hard to feel like that. And honestly, like, humans love having somebody to blame, right? And so they are going to naturally go to the person that's easiest to blame, which is the kicker. But just know in your heart, bro, it's not your fault. Like, there were so many other variables that were completely out of your control that even put you in that position. And so to work through that, bro, I think the biggest thing I could tell you is to go back to the exact, I think you said 35-yard line where you were at. And I would just practice kicks all day long until you can do it with your eyes closed. Just practice, get comfortable. Remember the moment, but tell yourself and remind yourself you're not defined by that missed kick. Some of the best kickers in the world have missed field goals before. Some of them have missed easy field goals. But one of the crazy things about being a kicker is you are in a position where more than others, where nerves and being iced and things like that matter so much, because you do bear the weight of feeling like everything comes down to you. And so, dude, I would stay out on the field. I would kick all day long, all in the afternoons, just practice, from that same spot. Because what's going to happen if you don't work through that? If you just try to brush this off and just whatever, then down the road, you're going to get into another situation where you're at that same 35-yard line. And as soon as the ball is getting ready to get snapped, you are going to have flashbacks to missing this kick. And so that's why it's so important today, tomorrow, this week, this month, to go through and let's just, from that same yard line, wherever you were at, 35-yard line, practice those kicks. Forget about it. Relive the moment. Pretend like everybody in the world's watching, like this is the game winner again. Keep reliving that adrenaline and tell yourself, I'm not defined by this. I am better than this. I'm not going to let this happen again. And practice until you can make that kick with your eyes closed. And I think the more you do that, the more you'll get comfortable with it. And then another thing is just like, as a kicker, you're going to miss, and you're going to miss again, you're going to miss. And I think like it just becomes a thing over time where, with the wisdom of talking to coaches and mentors and teammates, like you kind of realize, you are there to try your best, but it's very similar to dropping a ball. A lot of times, like I've said, a wide receiver drops a catch, and it's like people forget about it the next play. But a kicker misses a field goal, and it's like headlines for a week. And so just remember, regardless of what everybody else says, the only thing you can control is you. And so just remember, you missing a kick is not that much different than a wide receiver dropping a ball, or the defense missing a tackle, or quarterback throwing an interception. There's mistakes that happen in football. That's why the game is entertaining to watch. Mistakes happen all the time. Yours is not special. That's one of the mistakes. And so last piece of advice I could give you is just own the miss. Like, just own it. You don't try to like get around it, like cower when people bring up field goal attempts and all this stuff. Just, I missed it, and that's my fault, and I'm going to do better next time. And I think the more you own that, the more you're going to be able to move past it, and people are going to respect you for it. And dude, you have an amazing opportunity here to become bigger, better, stronger through this moment. And I think you're going to do fantastic.